Hey guys, welcome back to Chapter 8, Lesson 6. So, we're going to continue factoring trinomials, but if you've noticed something in all of Lesson 5, every single one of those problems, it was only an x squared. There was no number in front of it. Now we're going to deal with what happens if there is a number in front of it. So, we're going to go ahead and get right into it. If we have the problem 2x squared plus 9x plus 10. Okay? Usually, in all of lesson 5, we're looking at that 10 and factoring that 10. We can't do that right off the bat because we have that 2 in front of the x squared. When you have a number that's right in front of x squared, the first thing you have to do is multiply the first number by the last number. So you're going to have to do 2 times 10, which is going to give us 20. Now we can continue with what factors we have of 20 to get the middle number. Remember, going back to our cheat sheet, if we have a positive middle number and a positive last number, that means our factors are going to both be positive. So, let's go ahead and find our factors of 20. We get 1 and 20, 2 and 10, 4 and 5. Go ahead and add them together. We're going to get 21, 12, or 9. The one we're looking for is 9. But we're not ready to write our answer yet. When we have a number in front of x squared, we have to take this another step. We have to add another step to this. We're going to have to change this middle number and replace this middle number with our factors. So what I mean by that is we're going to rewrite the original problem, but instead of writing a 9x, I'm going to write plus 4x and plus 5x. So we split that 9x into those two factors that we found. Now, some of you guys might be ahead of me on this one, but what do we do when we have a 4-term polynomial? I'm going to factor by grouping here. So let's cut this in half and factor this out. I'm not going to go through with all of the factoring for these. We can factor out a 2x here, leaving us with just x plus 2. And we can factor out a 5 here, leaving us with just an x plus 2. Some of you guys might have got to this point where you don't have to do all the prime factorization to figure out what your GCF is, and that's great. Perfectly fine. You do not have to show me the prime factorization every single time. If you know that 2 and 4 have a 2 in common, or 5 and 10 have a 5 in common, or 12 and 48 have 12 in common, you're perfectly fine just factoring that out. Okay? Now, just like factoring by grouping, we're going to finish up this whole problem by rewriting our final answer as x plus 2 and 2x plus 5. Again, this is probably as difficult as these get for now, until we get to chapter 9. But this is about as difficult as they get. You're going to take your time. There's a lot of steps here, okay? We've got to multiply the first and last number together. We have to factor that new number. We have to split that middle number in the original problem into its two factors. We have to split this and factor by grouping. We have to take our factoring by grouping and create our answer. Okay, so there is a lot to do, and I want you to take your time when you do these, please. Okay, take your time and make sure you can follow your own work. Let's go ahead and do another one together, and then I'll let you do one on your own. So, let's go ahead and do 2x squared minus x minus 45. Notice, this isn't plus plus like the last one. It's minus minus. So that tells us when we get to factoring, our factors are going to be one positive, one negative, with the negative one being the greater factor. So we start off 2 times 45. That looks like a 0.45. Let's go ahead and get rid of that little dot right there. And get to the 45. It's okay. We'll rewrite it. A little sloppy. So we do 2 times negative 45, and we get negative 90. So we're going to have to find the factors for negative 90. Negative 90 is going to become 1 in 90, 2 in 45, 3 in 30, 5 in 18, 6 in 15, and 9 in 10. Again, since we have a minus minus, our bigger factor will be the negative. And our smaller number will be, our smaller factor will be the positive. So we're trying to get a negative 1 here. We're going to get a negative 89, negative 43. We're going to get negative 27, negative 13, negative 9, and we're going to get a negative 1. So we don't care about any of these. We only care about this one. So let's split this problem up to 2x squared plus 9x minus 10x minus 45. You cannot forget about this step. If you do and you try to write your answer, it's going to be wrong. So let's factor by grouping here. 2x squared and 9x only have an x in common. So we're going to be left with 2x plus 9. Negative 10x and negative 45, they're both negative. We're going to have a negative 5 in common, leaving us with 2x plus 9. Because we took a negative 5 out of the negative 45, we get left with a positive 9. So our answer is going to be 2x plus 9 and x minus 5. That's our final answer. So, again, take as much time as you want. Pause the video, go back, look this over, try to figure out what's confusing you. Let's go ahead and do one on your own. So, let's go ahead and do 7x squared plus 26x minus 8. This actually is number 3 on one of your worksheets. Someone's already asked me about this one, and I have all the work written down for it. But go ahead and do this one, and we'll come back and review it together. Okay, so we have to start this one off by doing 7 times negative 8. So 7 times negative 8. That gives us a negative 56. Since our trinomial is a positive in the middle and a negative at the end, this means when we get down to our factors, that the bigger one's going to be positive and the smaller one's going to be negative. So we're going to have 1 in 56, 2 in 28, 4 in 14, and 7 and 8. Again, our smaller factor is negative, and our greater factor is positive, and we're looking to try to get a 26 out of this. So we're going to get a 55, we're going to get a 26, we're going to get a 10, and we're going to get a 1. So only one we care about is the 26. So we're going to split this up to 7x squared minus 2x plus 28x minus 8. Now we factor by grouping. All the 7x squared and negative 2x have in common is a x. So we're left with 7x minus 2. And what 28 and 8 have in common is 4. So we're left with 7x minus 2. So let's write our final answer. Our final answer is going to be 7x minus 2 times x plus 4. Again, you see that those rules that we talked about in part 5 of lesson 5 came in handy here. We figured out what these factors were going to be, whether it be negative, positive, positive, negative, both negative or both positive. Okay? So this is the conclusion of chapter 8. You guys have completed a whole chapter via YouTube. Hopefully, you guys understand this. If not, again, you have ways of reaching me. Please get a hold of me. Okay, guys? I'll see you next time in chapter 9. See ya.